from their own intersubjective perspective.
I use universal symbology to map my mind, and I'll explain. So about 7 years ago, I was working on a type of universal language. And at the time, I was thinking it was just phonetic. But as I was expanding my knowledge base, I realized that there's actually a real universal writing system mathematically intrinsic in the universe. And so like these are some examples of me exploring them just on my big whiteboard, which I literally built about 4 years ago in this warehouse that I study in, like a hermit, in order to figure out all of this universal symbology stuff. So this is actually my super whiteboard, I call it, for training in universal symbology. And I mean, I'm training in formulas right now because a bunch of other stuff, and just trying to figure out, okay, like, so that's what that is. I guess my facilities for like other functions too. That's one of the big things I do. I also do like cyber investigations and stuff. So I have this kind of command center set up. But check this out. This is what I want to show you. So this is like one of the things. This is actually newer symbology that I realized recently. How simple, but it's like a light switch where you have this intersection between the different symbols, and you have the high, you have the ascension cross, the middle cross, descension cross, and then the bottom. So like top, up. And so like these have a lot of words that attribute. So I see these symbols as words, and these are just like 5 examples. Let's go for some more. So for me, when I'm like trying to think about thoughts, I usually use I have to use universal symbology to really kind of grasp what I'm thinking about. And you gotta be kidding me with that. Okay, there we go. And so I have this underlying definition that I'm using as a programming language for consciousness. And at first, I thought it was a programming language for emotions. But then I found out it was bigger than that. It includes the programming language for emotions and neural networks, but it's quantum programming in all networks. And so anything where the mathematics of your universe, in our universe, for example, forms particular shapes in geometry, those shapes have intrinsic meaning. And that meaning is implied from the applications of every symbol. And so that can snowball real fast. And one of the things that I was able to figure out was in astrology, and it's like, at first, I remember long ago, now it's long ago, like maybe about 8-9 years ago, I did not believe astrology at all. Then about 7 years ago, I started thinking, well, maybe it is real, but everybody's wrong about it because it's all like secreted. And then I discovered that then I started researching into it because of universal, and I was like, I wonder if there's a direct correlation. I wonder if base 12 mathematics has some sort of direct correlation. And as I went into it, yes, it does. There's 3 modalities in astrology, and these represent different types of modalities in personality. And then there's also 4 natures. And these are all part of universal symbology. Oh, fuck. And that's water. We'll just do this. Sorry for the cuss. Don't get mad. And we'll just do top. This one's here. This would be more like that. This would be more like that. And the central cross. Interestingly enough, when you were looking over at the crosses, this all counts. All symbols count. And that means that every one of these symbols represents a categorization, a cluster of ideas that it's linked to. And the more I train in all of these different constructs and create basically a thesaurus in my mind of linking all of these symbols together, that anchors me in reality and in conscious thought. So it allows me to program my own mind using a quantum programming language that's mathematically intrinsic in the universe. There's only one of these programming languages in our universe, just the same way as there's only one way to really make a circle. There's only, you know what a circle is? It's a circle. It's a round enclosed object that it doesn't even have to be perfect. You can have kind of an oval shape, but it's kind of like circular. It's a round object. That's not even oval. Not that we can draw perfect circles with the hand, unless you're like super duper. I imagine that there might be possible ways to make perfect shapes, but going back into the symbology, these symbols can then expand, so you can add doodads that add additional meaning to a composite symbol. And then these symbols can get very complex, where you can start doing really interesting stuff. And but once again, what I'm doing right now, I don't even understand what I'm writing, right? I'm just doodling. This is doodling. But think about what I'm trying to point out here. This whole hyper complex symbol is a quantum sentence. It's a quantum statement. And every single part of it has its own sub-meaning, and those sub-meanings are more explicitly declared relative to the other sub-meanings from the other components of this complex symbol. Not that you have to do that, you can keep it simple. And here's some examples. It's like you have a circle, a line, and then a caret, or an angle. And then when you combine them, you get that Mars symbol, or the masculine symbol. Sorry, guys. And this is an object. This is a shape. This is a space. This is a surface. There's a lot of words that this means. This is a dimension. This is direction. Lines always allow you to find direction as long as it's a straight line. The angle shows you an angle. What is the angle? Where is the angle of attack? Right? And so you have this, and then you can make arrows. And right there's evidence right there. Everybody knows what the fuck that means. Everyone knows what this is. This is an arrow. And this is, aliens know what that means. And there's the really kicker part. If this is a universal quantum language that's mathematically intrinsic in the universe for communicating consciousness, you don't even need to speak it, which I'm sure you can speak it, by the way. I've made documentation that demonstrates that there's obviously ways that you can convert this to a human verbal speech, but it's more powerful than that because you can use this for psychic communications, provided that you have the organs or technology to make that possible. And so robots will be able to communicate psychically through their mind, psychologically through their mind, using something like this. And this would be super handy for preventing miscommunication, because the symbology is so anchored directly in the mathematics that you can't really screw that up. You could try though. And I don't want to draw how you can, but you can make chaotic symbols. But even if you make, I'll do it. Even if you make a chaotic symbol, I mean, the meaning is still there. What is that? Does that look like a mess? Yes. Yeah, it looks like a mess. But the truth of it is that you can still decrypt this. It's just hard for us because it's a much more complex symbol, to the point where it has broken down into chaos. There's not much definition that you can explicitly derive from this. And if you try to create the meaning is really fiction. But that's the really interesting part. There's fact, and then there's fiction. And so the quantum language, even when you're doing stuff like, I'm just going to create a bunch of squiggles just to prove you wrong, it's like, no, that's fiction. And these are facts. Because it is a fact that is an angle. It is a fact that is a curve. It is a fact that is a whatever, I guess like a staple, whatever. Is it a fact that's a triangle? And how can you can prove it mathematically, and thus it's fact. Whereas this is a fiction. Whatever you're going to say about this, it represents the cornucopia of emotional permutations through, now I'm still talking scientific. It's through the feelings of Ishbinzal and Equanice, the two ancient scholars of Glabius. It's like, yeah, now it's fiction, right? And it's like, how do you know that? Well, because I said so. Just like I said so. I said so, right? And so that's how I do my mind mapping. I use quantum programming language for that.